fat man when he goes to Japan, right? King Kong's Fly Sword. Let's see. This rare butterfly, unfortunately, only skeletal remains are available for our perusal. See, what else could it be? I can fly. I can fly. Oh, I've gotten too close to the sun. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's right. Hi, I'm Paul Bunyan. You got those pancakes for me yet? Coming right up, Paul. Yeah. Well, it's a nice screen. It's very nice. And I suppose now I should introduce myself. But before I do, some product identification. This episode of The Wrong Hero, which, by the way, is entitled based on an untrue story, is brought to you by Le Soda Epinette in France, the Spruce Beer in Canada, and Turpentine Soda in the United States, which, Turpentine Soda, I like drinking this because, it tastes the way I feel. Hi. How are you? Carrot Top couldn't make it tonight, so I'm here in his place. I'm the wrong hero. I don't have red hair. On the way over here, and now I'm going to start deconstructing my own set even as I do it. It's an on-team audience, so I can do this. Every comic goes, a funny thing happened to me on the way over here. Like they want you to know they have a car. Well, I'm a solid citizen. I'm not a bum. I drive a car. A funny thing happened to me on the way. On the way over here, I was thinking, everything is coming my way. I was thinking, everything is coming my way. That's because I was driving on the wrong side of the turnpike. So it was really, and so I got pulled over by a policeman. And whenever I get pulled over by a cop, I like to play a nice little game called Turn on the Tape Recorder. Whoa. How does this thing work? I never did get the hang of this newfangled technology. Every time I get stopped by a policeman, I like to play a nice little game called Nice Victim, Mean Victim. And it's like, excuse me, sir, can I see your license and registration? And it's like, top of the morning to you, officer. Are you aware that you were driving 60 miles per hour on the wrong side of the turnpike? Now, why is that? Oh, sure, I was pretending that the accelerator was a policeman's head. Because I was sucking on a cube of LSD, and I wanted to get home before I melted, Officer. Caught me in donuts sitting and picking your ass in a Dunkin' Donuts at 4 in the morning. Sir. And he says, oh, we'll let it go this time. See if it doesn't happen again. Well, I have something in common with all of you, probably, but I'm not quite sure. But I know I have something in common with Steve here. Steve's from Pittsburgh, and I'm from Pittsburgh, and I don't know Planet Pittsburgh, we call it, and I'm not sure he's told you anything about it, but it's kind of an old-fashioned place, Pittsburgh. It's like it's the kind of place where they consider horseradish a mind-altering substance. They all sit around on Saturday night. Well, I'm tired of going to the gas station, stepping on the little hose and making a ding. There's nothing happening at the barber shop. I read that Saturday Evening Post from 1939 about 15 times. So it's the Midwest, and everybody in the Midwest talks like Huckleberry Hound. You may have noticed this in your own travels. Oh my darling, excuse me, sir, can you tell me how to get to City Hall? Oh, sure. You take a left and a right, and you go where the old barn used to be 50 years ago, and you take another left and another right, and you come right back here because you're lost. And then you ask me again, and I'll tell you, for $1. You're not from around here, are you? I didn't think so. Yeah, well, when I was in Pittsburgh, it's a very traditional place, and when I was growing up, my dad was a meat and potatoes man. His arms were made of French fries, and his legs were made of steak, and I used to look at him and go, what kind of nightmare world is this they brought me into? And my mother, she was always on me about, like, saying cuss words. I'd say, shit! And she'd go, please, I don't like you using that word. That's a very ugly word. I wish you would call it something nice, like brown monuments to a healthy appetite. Yeah, well, I don't know. I shouldn't say this, but time to take a drink of Le Soda Epinette. How do they advertise this stuff? tastes like tastes like you're drinking a forest. I bet you the stuff is flammable. Because, it really does have turpentine. You want to taste it? No, I'm serious. This is really spruce beer. It's not water or whiskey or transparent coffee. Now, there's a gimmick for you. Transparent coffee. Well, anyway, we were slow children where I was growing up. We used to play chicken with a steamroller. That's how slow we were. I had this friend named Lance. And, we had all these little neighborhood taunts, like, Lance, peed his pants, real Einsteins, real wizards we were, Frank, the piggy bank, like, lost his penny when he went to the bank. I'd say, well, strictly speaking, the rules of versification state that you cannot rhyme similar words, identical words. Well, anyway, Lance, he used to do this little thing, this cute, adorable little thing. He'd get his tricycle, turn it upside down, spin the pedals, and go, I'm the icy ball man! I'm the icy ball man! The problem was, the pathetic thing about it was he was 32 years old when he was doing this, and it's like, whoa, you should have got him out of that town about 20 years ago, Lance. Well, and I used to go to the library, and they had this record of Edgar Allan Poe reading, well, not reading himself, but someone reading Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart, which begins, True, nervous, very nervous. But why do you say I have taken leave of my senses? They have sharpened, they have not dulled. And this is a great thing for an 8-year-old kid to listen to. But unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately for the purposes of this monologue, the record had skips in it, so it came out sounding like, True, nervous, but why do you say I've sharpened my senses? They have not dulled. It's great, so that's why I'd be walking down the street, True, nervous, So, that sort of gave me a reputation right there. And I used to like to go to the supermarket and, just play with the produce. The big mounds of oranges and apples and bananas and whatnot. And I'd bring army soldiers to the supermarket, and that was fine with my mother. It kept me busy, It's like, here they are on Orange Mountain! Look out! The apple heads are, But then she drew the line at bringing the crucifix with Christ on it to the supermarket and flying it around like it was an airplane. It was like, there's Pontius Pilate! Hey, Peter, I can see your house from here! She really did not approve of that at all. Well, a couple weeks ago we celebrated, if that's the proper expression, the 50th anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. What would the Japanese think, they're celebrating it, are they? Well, we're celebrating the 1500th anniversary of bubonic plague. Yeah. How do you like them apples? But I wanted to tell you, I remember the day that John F. Kennedy was shot. That was like, it was a big turning point in this country, and I remember thinking, well, at least they can't blame me for it. The thing about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Hiroshima gets all the glory, Nagasaki gets the shitty end of the stick. Nagasaki, it was pretty significant. They had this plutonium bomb. It was an implosion device. It was the first time they'd ever used it. But Nagasaki got all the fallout, none of the publicity. And, I just feel bad for Nagasaki. I really do.
Sorry, I thought that.
No, I'm not blaming you now. And then there's Phil Graham. You hear about Phil Graham? You know who Phil Graham is? God, I wish I didn't. It's a mean crook from Texas who's running for president. He's already raised a cool $20 million. And he came in first in the straw poll in Iowa. It used to be, they would start Christmas about 3 weeks before Christmas, and then they yanked it back to Halloween, and now they have sales in July for Christmas stuff. And it's the same thing with politics. It used to be New Hampshire primary was the big thing, and then they pushed it back. And now it's like, what, August, and you're already talking about 1996? Well, Phil Graham came in first in the straw poll. He's a pro-life candidate, and which is kind of appropriate, because if you've ever seen a picture of him, he sort of looks like an embryo with aviator specs, Ugh, Phil Graham. That's what we need. Another thieving, lying crook from Texas as president. Like, we didn't get enough of that with LBJ. Now we got Phil Graham on the plate. Oh, and Kuwait. We're sending troops to Kuwait again. This is wonderful. I really like this. It occurs to me that Kuwait is sort of like Switzerland with air conditioning and slaves. So let's send 540,000 troops there. That would be cool. And all these Democrats are turning into Republicans. And, they say, well, why do Democrats turn to Republicans, but Republicans never turn into Democrats? Well, there's a very simple reason for that. You don't age backwards. Really being a Republican is sort of like being prematurely old. It's like going from Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life to Mr. Potter. It's that kind of ideological leap. Well, I don't know. I think that Italian immigrants should have the right to own their own home. Ew, you're a loser, George Bailey. You'll always be a loser. One time you called me a bitter, frustrated old man. Well, you're a bitter, frustrated young man. Wow, snappy repartee there, Mr. Potter. Well, actually, thinking about that movie, they were horrified that the place turned into Potter's Town just because George Bailey wasn't there. I kind of like Potter Town, It's a swaying place, man. It's a wide open town, liquor 24 hours a day. I really love that scene where the angel comes into the bar and says, oh, I think I'll have a flaming rum punch. And the bartender says, listen, we sell hard liquor to people who want to get drunk fast. And we don't need no characters around here. You can get the very same response by going to South Boston and asking for a flaming rum punch, even to this day. So, and Sonny Bono, everybody in the world has done stuff about Sonny Bono because he's a Republican congressman now. And I was just wondering, what was Sonny Bono thinking when he was doing his duet with Cher? I got you, babe, just like thinking, I got you, babe. Cher is ugly. I got you, babe. I wish I had some drugs. I got you, babe. This fur vest is itchy. I got you, babe. Someday I'll be a congressman. Man, I'll tell you, it looks more like a game show host than a congressman. I don't know. The Democrats kind of bug me. They don't believe in flying saucers, but they believe that Social Security will still be around when we turn 65. It's kind of a contradiction. And the Republicans, And the Republicans, they're on this religious kick. And I wonder if they read the part in the Bible, the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth? Fine with me, as long as we get the drilling rights. They can have the earth. It's worthless anyway. We polluted it to death. Well, the thing about politics is sports for people who are too fat to run. Really, the American male metamorphoses from age 18 to age 38. 18, football player. 25, baseball player. 38, congressman. It's like, and the belly gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it threatens to burst. And of course, I'm a climax, I think they should. I don't think they should build homeless shelters. I think they should build heartless shelters, where heartless people can go to hide from the homeless. Actually, they already have those, though. They're called suburbs, I think. I'd like to vote with my feet, but I'm afraid that people will laugh at my shoes, so I won't do it. Oh, another thing. If the election were held today, it would be November. Just to keep you informed. It's your civic duty to be informed about politics here. Well, I should tell you a little bit about what I believe. I believe that big business is the religion of selfishness. Of course, they paid me to say this. I also believe, Frank Lloyd Wright said that architecture is frozen music. And I'm thinking, what kind of dope is this guy been smoking? Well, if I can borrow a leaf from Frank Lloyd Wright, I believe that religion is frozen morality. It's sort of like, blessed are the... So, but we don't really have religion. People are hungry for something to worship. They're so hungry that they worship people like Walt Disney, a guy who invented a 6-foot rat. Take that, Jesus Christ. I invented a 6-foot rat. And the thing is, though, the insidious propaganda of the Disney organization, it extends even to Mickey Mouse. You know what Mickey Mouse stands for? I mean, you know what Mickey Mouse means? It's a subliminal message. It means MIC, Military Industrial Complex. KEY, Keynesian Economic Yoke. MOUSE, more of United States engulfment. And O.J. Simpson. I think O.J. Simpson, I think he's innocent, first of all, because the gloves wouldn't fit. So obviously they didn't belong to him, therefore he's innocent. But if the gloves didn't belong to him, then who did they belong to? Now who are the two prime suspects? Who do you associate with gloves? Michael Jackson and Mickey Mouse. They did it, You overdone and I'll cut her. Oh, I don't know. I don't think Priscilla would approve of that, Mickey. The spruce beard. The spruce beard. It's fancy because it's written in fancy lettering instead of being printed in block letters. Anybody got a match? I tasted. This is the one that had Bambi in it. I invented a Bible for children. And it's called the Bib. And the Old Testament is one word. No. And the New Testament is also one word. Because. And I also invented a religion for dogs. And it's called heal. And the Old Testament is one word. Sit! And the New Testament is 2 words. Good dog. See, what am I working on now? A tranquilizer for children called Somebody's Getting Tired. And I'm working on some children's books, too. I had this job writing children's books, but I got fired for using the word poop. And they didn't approve of the book that I handed in, Winnie the Shit. They didn't dig that at all. I was thinking, maybe we could get Tennessee Williams A Streetcar Named Desire and make a really cool movie, but you have to jazz it up a little, Couldn't call it A Streetcar Named Desire. You have to call it something like Fucking Slut Trolleys XXX starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm a cynical guy, I guess. I completely lost my faith in religion. I lost my faith in science. I canceled my subscription to Scientific American. Now I subscribe to Superstitious Caveman. I just got the first issue. It's dated August 22nd, 1 million BC. And it's got a big headline on it: Fire! Bad! And great articles too, like sacrificing your eldest to the angry sun gods, some do's and don'ts. And are dinosaurs kosher? Question mark. We think we're so modern and postmodern, actually. Not just modern, we're postmodern. But we're not really. We're basically just aborigines with rocket sleds when it comes right down to it. And, the cavemen had their cave paintings, and we have the internet. It's the same thing. The ancients had masturbation. We have Nintendo. It's the same deal. It's all the same stuff. And as advanced as science has gotten, there are still some questions that science cannot answer. For example, will they ever be able to invent a rat poison that isn't tested on animals? And if you overdose on anti-nausea drugs, how many of them do you have to take before you get nauseous? And here's one that's been bugging me. Do your goldfish get annoyed if you don't move around enough in the room? You know, I mean, because really, you're their entertainment when you come. Oh, and here's another thing too. Some scientists believe that if there are life forms on other planets and they're not carbon-based, there's a possibility they could be silicon-based. So I mean, I'm just thinking, aliens land here, they're silicon-based. What's the first thing they're going to say? Take me to your nudie bars, you know. We have come for your artificially enhanced women. Yeah. Oh, and I figured out what monkeys are trying to say when they go, chirp, 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 chirp. What are they trying to say? I forget. Well, anyway. Well, but I went to college, and I should know these things. And unfortunately, I realized something recently. You know, I went to college, I dropped $50,000 to go to college, and what did I learn? How to eat cookie dough raw, how to mix vodka and cappuccino and not get sick, how to say, I know exactly what you mean instead of, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know, and it's like $50,000, you know. It's like, Christ, I can use that money right now. I want that money. Give me back that $50,000. Well, you can't do that, unfortunately. Another thing is, you know, I do a lot of coffee houses, and it's like because my dad used to say to me, son, work in a restaurant and you'll always eat. And I say to him, what if I work in a coffee house? Will I always be nervous? I don't know. Anybody ever been to Toscanini's in Central Square? Yeah, they're real nice folk there. Very patient. One time I used to go in there, I'd be stoned. How could you tell? It'd be like one eye would be the size of a pinprick, the other would be the size of a bowling ball. And I'd walk in there and I'd go, I'd like a quart of ice cream. Make it 1/3 rum raisin, 1/3 grapefruit sorbet, and on top I would like coffee, cappuccino, almond bark, chewing tobacco, Mexico City exhaust fumes, paint thinner rag, here kitty kitty, here kitty kitty, spotted owl, dolphin-free tuna, beached whale, koala bear, eucalyptus leaf, malted mastodon, recombinant DNA crunch. Oh, and don't put it in a cone. Give it to me in a monkey's paw. And they'd say, oh, well, is that for here or to go? Very nice people. And then I'd pay them. Thank you, sir. And I don't like it when people call me sir, because when you get to be a certain age, when people call you sir, what it really means is fatso. And this is a handy thing. This is a handy thing to remember too. You know, next time you're forced to say sir to somebody, just say fatso. And it's like, yes, sir, fatso. That'll get them every time. But they can tell. They can tell that that's what you're doing. You know? Well, what's with this sir business all of a sudden? I don't know. Music drives me insane, I think. As if I needed any help. Like, and I just don't know anymore. The older you get, the less you like music is basically the deal, I think, because you turn deaf and whatnot. But basically, you know, you can sum music up in like 25 words or less. Country and Western, a soap opera for drunks, as the world spins. Folk music is every bit as oppressive as the injustices it is supposedly attempting to eradicate. That's the great grand irony about folk music. And rock and roll. Rock and roll is capitalism in 145. You know, the hidden subliminal message of all rock and roll. Consume, 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 consume. Fornicate, fornicate. Die, 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 die. You know, it's sad. But there's certain songs that you hear when you're a kid and they haunt you for the rest of your life. Like I was visiting my nephews and they had this little toy where you pull it and it plays a song, one of those Fisher-Price toys. And the song it played was Pop Goes the Weasel. And so, you know, I did a little deep research. I went to the library. I looked up the words to Pop Goes the Weasel. And I'll tell you, you know, John Carpenter, step aside. You know, I mean, you ain't got nothing on this. That's like round and round the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. There's a real plausible scenario for you right there, you know. The monkey thought 'twas all in fun. Pop goes the weasel. You know, and this is my vision of hell, waking up and seeing a monkey chasing a weasel around a mulberry bush for all eternity. And it's like, what an example is set for our nation's impressionable youth. And another one that really bothers me is, every little breeze seems to whisper Louise. You ever think about the ramifications of this? Every little breeze seems to whisper Louise. Make it stop! Make it stop! So, I don't know, I've lost my faith in music. And another thing that really bothers me is, you watch much TV? There's that ad for the fabric softener, the Snuggles Bear, you know? And I know what most of you are thinking when you see this. Oh, how cute, that teddy bear's playing with the baby. It's like, get that thing away from the baby! It's got fangs! What if its mother shows up? It's the size of a washer dryer. So, I don't know. Snuggles Bear. I broke up with my fiance, but I was really nice about it. I said, baby, every time I make love to you, I see God. And he told me to stop going out with you. Nevertheless, I'm having problems with my teenage son. And the hell of it is, he hasn't even been born yet. I just know I'm going to have problems with him. So I'm going to give him a controlling name. You know, something that when he gets out of line, and just whip the name on him. You know what the R in your name stands for? It stands for Ralston Purina. And I'll tell the entire neighborhood. You know, it's like, you know what that C in your middle name is? Cracklin' Oat Brand! Now get down! You know, I didn't call you Acidophilus for nothing. So, anyway, winding down, I guess. I am a celebrity. And the definition of a celebrity is a person who is more popular than the masters they serve. But, you know, it's kind of doubtful, actually. But I've been thinking about the moon and the sun. I believe that the moon is capitalism. It's big, it's white, it sits there and does nothing, and it has a lot of pull. And the sun is socialism. It's big, it's red, and it's setting all over the world. But no, wait. The moon isn't capitalism. The moon is a giant ovary. That's why we shoot rockets at it. How ironic. And I believe that, this is what I believe. I believe that in the future, everybody who is not a robot will be in jail. I also believe that we are, all of us, my friends, free men and women. Because that's what it says on our shackles. Well, I'm the wrong hero. This has been based on an untrue story, and I'd like to thank my sponsors. Move Over Butter. Fuck You Margarine. Die Lard, Die. And I can't believe it's not Blubber. Thank you all very much. fire?
Yeah.
What the hell's that?
Oh.
You know, Steve, you do this to me every time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you've already bored everybody silly, but I wasn't paying attention, so now I want you to do an encore. All right, just one. That's it, though. After that, that's it.
And the other thing is, you have to backtrack.
Oh, no. That went over gangbusters. I did the, what I call the pan-ethnic diatribe, which basically insults every single immigrant of European extraction. Like, you know, oh yes, the Irish, the rot-gut swilling, leprechaun hallucinating, ether sniffing, potato gulping, Pope worshipping Irish, you know, and that just did not go over very well. Oh yes, the Italians, you know, the Greeks, the greasy, garlicky, bushy eyebrow, tin horn chiselers, you know. It's like, whoa.
You know, like when you do like the Dutch and like the Swedes. Like,
the Dutch.
Makes fun of.
Oh yeah. The ones that nobody ever makes fun of. Wonder why? Because they have no identifiable characteristics after having been assimilated to this country for 150 years, maybe. Oh yes, the Dutch, the butter-eating, Heineken gulping, clog-wearing fatsos whose eyes are crossed from staring at windmills and their fingers are shriveled from sticking them in dikes, and they like to sit around in low dives and smoke hash all day long and skate around on ice skates, and did I already say that? Yeah, basically it sounds like some drunk, you know, in a bar, like getting down on his wife's relatives, you know. Yeah, they're all a bunch of Swedes. You know what the Swedes do, don't you? And they sit around in their miserable sod huts, the light of whale-fat lamps, eating salted salmon, reading Hamlet in the original Danish, and feeling sorry for themselves. Lousy Swedes. You know, none of it based on anything that's real or actual. It's just uninformed uninformed prejudices are bad, but informed prejudices are even worse because it's like a dagger striking at the heart of the multicultural ethos. You know, multiculturalism. I don't want to. I'm not hawking on multiculturalism. I'm not putting multiculturalism down. But isn't that the old divide and conquer routine all over again? Basically, it's like, hi, my name is Overman. My children get into college on legacy scholarships, meaning if I went to the college and my ancestors went there, my son will go there, even though his SATs are 800. We got this group, the legacy scholarships, and then we get this group, the multicultural scholarships. And where does that leave Joe Sixpack? Fuming. It promotes racism as much as in the very process of attempting to alleviate it. It's a pity because in a perfect world, of course, nobody would be unfair to anybody else. We wouldn't need that kind of thing, but we need it, and yet.
We wouldn't need college.
That's right. Who needs college anyway? What good is it? For that matter, elementary school. Isn't it just like training wheels for the workday? It's like get up at 7, get out at 3. When you go to work, if you work a 9-to-5 job, does anything get done after 3 o'clock? Of course not. You're conditioned that way from the age of 4. It's like get up, eat your oatmeal, watch Captain Kangaroo, get to school, goof around for half an hour, do not much of anything until lunchtime, and then maybe you buckle down in the afternoon a little bit, and then you're out at 3. That's it. Horse around, do extracurricular stuff, stand around the water fountain. You want to hear the Jim Morrison stuff. I think Jim Morrison would be alive today if instead of being involved in the seamy, dark underworld of rock and roll, he had stuck to the traditional Irish folk songs that perhaps were his legacy, but he didn't realize it at the time. And so, his big hit would have been Light My Fire, and it would have been, oh, the time to hesitate is through, no time to wallow in the mire, and if you're not careful, I will light your head on fire. Oh, it's over the hill to the poorhouse, over the hills and far away, and if you're not careful, I will light your head ablaze. Yeah. Poor Jim Morrison. And Jerry Garcia, too. I used to love to go to Grateful Dead concerts. I liked the incredible free-form jazz-type music built on rock and roll. And I liked the feeling of solidarity and communality. And I especially liked the police helicopters hovering 70 feet over your head, making such a racket that you couldn't even see what the old men were doing on stage. And they're, hey, wow, man, that's a great solo by Jerry. No, that's prop wash from that police helicopter. Forget it. Get out of here. Great drum solo. No, that's the police. They're hitting potheads, or they're hitting him over the skull and dragging him off to jail. So I don't know. Again, I'd like to thank you all. I'd like to thank you for calling me back for an encore. I'd like to thank you for chuckling every now and then. And I'd like to thank you all as well. Let's see. What are your names? Kim? See, that's where I was pointing. I'm bad with names. I'm also bad with faces. In fact, basically I'm autistic. It comes right down to it. Too many video games. That's another thing. Video games are training wheels for autism. It's like, I'm in a world of my own. Someday they're going to invent a video game that's this. It'll be called My Name is Tommy, and I Became Aware This Year. So, anyway, I don't want to drag this out any more than I already have. And once again, I'm the wrong hero, Aaron. Thank you. Up next, why the ASPCA rejected my slogan, "A dog's head is soft."
Young man with a function. That's all I need to say. I'd like to mention something. I was reading Dennis the Menace in the Herald the other day. See, I don't want to tell jokes, so I think I'll read the comics instead. There's this thing, he's holding this skull, and he goes up to his mom and says, "Mom, look what fell out of Mr. Wilson's head." No, that's not really what this says. This one's even more terrifying than that. Dennis and Joey are dressed up in cowboy apparel. And Dennis is handing one of his spurs to Joey, and as the sensitive Dennis notes, "Here, I don't need 2 spurs. If I get one side of my horse to run, the other side will have to go with it." Sort of like capitalism. Anyway, who would have thought? That's not the conversation. Here's Stephen Wilson. And I was David Romet. Here's the chief out again from him. Well, sure it's good to see all your smiling faces out here on Wednesday afternoon. I'd like to tell you a little story. It's about the very first pet I ever had. When I was just a little shaver, no beard in the back of your hand, I went to my daddy, and I says to him, "Daddy, all the other boys in town have a pet, why can't I?" That's why. Well, I'll get to that a little later. And he says to me, "Son, you know that on a preacher's salary, I can't afford to give you no pet." And I says to him, "Daddy, please let me be like the other boys just for once, please." So he says, "Okay, son. I'll talk to the big guy upstairs and I'll see if he can arrange something for you." Well, you just picture my surprise when one day I came home and I saw a gift box with my name on it, and I opened it up, and out came my very first pet. You can bet I was just the proudest little shaver this side of the Allegheny, because inside that box was my very own pet god. Oh! I had to take him out to the dog obedience school and teach him his manners. Well, he didn't want to go there, so I sent him to the guard obedience school. He learned his manners mighty quick after that. I used to not let him run around outside because I was afraid he'd get in with that gang of bad guards that was terrorizing the neighborhood. And also, I didn't want the guard catcher to get him. You know how it is. Well, also because we didn't have a guard license for him. What am I supposed to do? Go $150 billion. Couldn't do it. So, anyway, one day I called my God and he didn't come. And I told my daddy, and he says, son, your God is old and feeble. It wouldn't be right to make him suffer. He said, son, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. So I got the rifle and I pointed it at the head of my pet God. And he looked at me with those big blue omniscient eyes of his, and I know that he knows what I was going to do. Well, after the deed was done, my daddy, he says to me, son, sometimes being an adult means making a lot of difficult decisions like killing off your God. He says, son, just remember this. You can't teach an old God new tricks. And that's the story of a boy and his girl. And we have someone else come up here and tell a story or do just any old little thing like play the guitar or something. Anybody?
I'll go, Francis.
Well, all right, come on. Jack Crow.
I'm going next.
I was going to say even better, but no. You can't compare apples and oranges. Yes, Carl Harwood. Impression. Alien. Thank you. Next we bring up Mr. Chad Crump. He's a minor legend, even though he's over 21. Please, a warm round of applause for Mr. Chad Crump. That was Chad Crump. You'll be seeing more of him elsewhere. And here as well. Before I introduce our next guest, I'd like to share a thought with you. Everybody knows who the most powerful president in the world is, but does anybody know who the dumbest president is?
Same person? There's only one president.
Could be. Now, let's say world leader then. Who is the stupidest world leader? He comes to the United Nations and he says, we will assassinate your president and take over your government. Well, then he goes back to his country, and his ambassador rushes in. Excellency, Excellency, the Americans are launching a preemptive first strike against our nation. Let me put my jacket on. Bring out the hot dogs, we're gonna have a weenie roast. And that's the dumbest world leader. But a man who even the dumbest world leader would have to admire and admit that it's very funny. Mr. Brennan McMahon. A warm round for this funny guy. That's level 1. Level 2. Level 3. Brennan McMahon, which is another fine comedy clubs in the area. I just thought, any of you guys go to see the Mayfair in Harvard Square on Sunday? There's like millions of people there. I saw this sausage vendor. He would say, "Hey, hot sausages, where are you going?" I looked around, I didn't see any fugitive linguiça, so I didn't know what to think. But I know what to think about our next guest. His name is Steve the Orphan, and he's got to go, so we're going to bring him up a tad early. Steve. My philosophy is if you want a surprise, get some fucking Cracker Jacks, but we do have a surprise. And it's called the Freelance Alligators, and they're going to set up, I think, if they're here. Freelance Alligators, come on up. And while they're setting up, I'm going to inflict upon you a stand-up monologue, right? Oh no, I can hear it in the back. Oh no. Boring old talk. And don't forget the immediate gratification players will be around 7:30. In case you don't know, they're a comedic troupe which performs in and around the Boston area. I don't know that, but I just assume that.
Steve, you shoot your past league show?
Yeah, I don't mind a girl talking. I really don't. Because I'm an optimist. I am. I'm an optimist because I figure everything could be a whole hell of a lot worse. I figure Noah could have gotten drunk and said, "Hey, fuck it, throw the animals overboard, bring the fish on up here." Hell, we might as well have done that, you know? I'm just hoping that the hole in the ozone layer is big enough so that the greenhouse effect somehow leaks out, you know? And then we'll all be saved. I was in the bakery last Sunday and I heard this kid say, "It's my birthday and I can do what I want to." Can you picture this as a way of dealing with adult crises? Hey, buddy, you just ran that red light. It's my birthday and I can do what I want to. You know, where's the promise contract? You're 3 hours late with it. It's my birthday and I can do what I want to. Stop doing that! Don't touch me there! It's my birthday and I can do what I want to. You know, people sometimes say I'm my own worst enemy and I believe them, man. That proves it. I guess. Well, you know, my boss, he comes up to me and says, "Fine, sometimes you're so smart." And I say, "What about the other times, huh?" And sometimes he says to me, "Frank, how long are we going to put up with your stupidity?" And I say, "I don't know, how patient are you?" Yeah, it's me versus the world, but it's not a very even fight because, well, in this corner, weighing 205 pounds, 6 feet tall, Francis DiMenno. In that corner, weighing 3 million tons, 3.8 million miles, the world. Not a very fair match. I was thinking about the idea of bumper stickers. Everybody should have a bumper sticker, even people you don't ordinarily associate with car ownership, or for that matter, being fatuous enough to put bumper stickers on their car in the first place. And I was thinking, Judas Iscariot, how could you betray our Lord? Ask me about my eternal torment. The Ayatollah Khomeini, get out of my way or I'll send you to death. Gaddafi, ask me about my urge to export terrorism. Hitler, my other vehicle is a German staff car. Or maybe my wife, yes, my gun, maybe, my dog, never. An American Indian, my other car is a Palomino pony. White man signal lane changes with forced tongue. Ask me about my ancestral burying grounds. I've been to Bering Strait. And well, Jesus. You know, this is sacrilegious, but Jesus. Caution, Messiah on board. I break for celestial choirs. My other car is a chariot. Me and my co-pilots are God. Superman, relax, invulnerable Kryptonian on board. And of course, Bruce Wayne, my other car is a Batmobile. Do you really think he'd give it away like that? He might. Well, these guys aren't giving anything away. They're the freelance alligators, sorry. They're also relentless. They're not quite ready yet, but then again. Okay, I'll tell this joke, seeing as how I got you on my side somehow, I don't know how. Tolstoy and Dostoevsky were down at the local faxing center, and Tolstoy is sending War and Peace over a fax machine. Dostoevsky cuts ahead of him and says, can I get ahead of you? I just got some notes. Well, 2 hours later, Tolstoy comes back. Hey, what's the holdup? Oh, I forgot to tell you, they're notes from underground. I know. Hey, I guess you guys don't read Russian literature. I think I'll persecute you on the basis of what you don't do. I guess you guys don't export international terrorism. Okay, well, it's hard to know just what it's like unless you've actually done it. Freelance alligators. And don't forget, immediate gratification players around 7:30. Here's our club owner, Mr. Joseph Sater. He was here anyway. Yeah. He pulled up his tents and stole away into the night. I'm sorry, folks. I guess I never should have come up here. Here they are, freelance alligators. Tell me what I'm setting up at. Just keep going, Francis. Keep going, Francis. Keep going. No, sorry. nightmare survey for a telephone surveyor to give. Hello, sir. I am from Successful Singles of Massachusetts. We would like to find out the way you feel about certain areas, so please answer the questions. My attitude towards marriage is, I would like to get married. I am open to it if I find the right person. Undecided, not interested this time. Never.
Never. That's right, never. That's me. The buck stops here. No kiss for me. No siree.
Thank you, sir. My annual income this year will be...
None of your business.
I am currently single, divorced,
Who told you?
widowed, or separated.
Well, I got a divorce, so what?
My typical work hours are
Whatever I fucking feel like.
meeting more people and expanding my social life is important because I'm new to the area. I don't like the bar scene. I can't find the type of people I like to date.
How about you, baby? And what are you doing tonight? You can look at what you got cooking there.
Please let me continue the survey, sir. I have little or no time to look because of work, or E, I am currently divorced or have ended a primary relationship.
Oh, every last one of them things you just said.
Please pick one, sir.
Nah, just put all of them. Put any one you want. I don't give a shit.
Okay. What are the three most important characteristics that you look for in members of the opposite sex?
A big ass, a tight pussy, and a big fucking dick.
Thank you, sir. The next question. A big party is more fun than a quiet evening at home. True or false?
Fucking true. What do you mean? Of course not. Big parties more fun. I get totally drunk. I can wake up my own kiss and vomit.
Thank you, sir. Good conversation is becoming a lost art.
You fucking right, it is, man. I can't fucking keep conversation going with anybody anymore. Nobody was talking any fucking thing I want to talk about, so hey, good conversation just go.
Thank you. Travel is a good form of education.
I'll say, man, I've been on the fucking run from the goddamn law for the last 20 years. I'm a fucking more educated, I'll tell you.
Thank you. Worrying too much about money spoils happiness.
Well, is there anything else to fucking worry about? Where the hell are you from, lady? With a firecracker in your ass. What do you mean with these fucking questions anyway?
The survey is almost through, sir. I have to know someone a long time before I trust them.
You're goddamn right. You gotta know a long time before you can trust them. The whole world's full of nothing but dogs. You know what those dogs will do? They get a chance, they'll bite you on your leg, they'll bite you on your head. I can't trust anybody. What are you for tonight anyway? I'm kind of lonely. I can't trust anybody. You know, I'm just actually a very sensitive and
Please continue the survey, sir. True or false? I exercise regularly.
goddamn right. I do. I go down to the goddamn packet and come back, go down, come back, and I can never get enough beer.
Common interests are important in romantic love.
Yeah, I can go to slasher film. I don't care. I don't give a shit. If my girlfriend don't want to go, she can stay home with the VCR and watch goddamn Heidi.
It is fun to surprise my friends with small gifts.
Yeah, I gave my girlfriend the clap. Boy, was she surprised.
Kissing someone in public is in poor taste.
Shit, man. It sure is. Their breath tastes like a goddamn army just marched through it. I can't get into that. No, I'm gonna kiss them in their piles.
The survey is almost through, sir. I believe in telling people if they make a mistake.
Well, the biggest goddamn mistake you ever made was getting me on the phone because I ain't answering no more of your goddamn questions.
Well, I only have one more, sir. Are you planning any relocation out of this area in the next year?
Hell, man, I'm getting the fuck out of here in 6 hours. The goddamn cops will be banging down my door. Oh, here comes Patty now. Listen, babe, I can't talk anymore. I gotta run. Listen, you wanna give me your phone number? I'll meet you after work, eh?
I'm sorry, sir, but we can't give out personal information about ourselves. One last question. What is your occupation?
I'm a freelance writer.
Oh, really? For what journals have you written?
I didn't say I was a writer. I said I was a writer. I go from city to city, spreading dissension everywhere I go.
successful singles has anything for you. We'll give you a call if anything comes up. Well, you've listened to me. I'm very grateful to you. And here's another funny guy. Please give him a warm round of applause. As much attention as you can this later on. Mr. Fred Bates. The immediate gratification players, please a warm round of applause. Honey, what's the matter?
I can't breathe. There's no oxygen in this room.
Here, try some of this.
What is it? That's pretty good.
It's ozone, dear. With ozone, you get an extra oxygen molecule in each breath.
But I'm allergic to salt.
Try salt-free ozone also, spearmint and peppermint ozone. We hope to have the immediate gratification players come back for us sometime real soon, like next week, because we have a special all-night show next week. What do you say, guys? Yes, next week from 6 to 10 or 11 p.m. or however long we can keep this thing going. What day? Wednesday, of course. Wednesday the 17th. We have Mr. Jim Fantino, and no doubt Mr. Bob Siren will be there too. Well, if he's not there next week, he'll be here right now. Mr. Bob Siren. Yes, Mr. Bob Siren with the legendary band, head squiggle face. We don't miss that funny little whistle when you breathe.
Thanks to you. And go by. Everything you always wanted in a cocaine. And you could start it by a fistful.
And it's Mr. Bob Siren. Please come back next week when we have Jimmy Fantino and a whole star-studded galaxy of famous stars and blah. And thanks again to the immediate gratification players. Never have we seen such skillful improv on the stage. Mostly because we never had an improv troupe on this stage. But actually, they were like enlightening. As you can see, like when I used to watch Marx Brothers films, I used to go around and just, act like Harpo Marx, and they got me doing what they're doing. The immediate gratification. Once upon a time, there was a Portuguese explorer. The end. Please bring up Patrick and his playmate and his cohorts. And you guys ready? No. Are Doug and Pam still here? Is Diane Davis still here? Diane, I promise. So sorry. But ask that again. We're on.
What time is it?
I bought a one-time only present for Francis in honor of his many birthdays his mother named children.
I see the bright lights tonight.
Thanks for letting me perform, Francis. Prove my
Why, I'm practically demanded to perform out here in Lydia.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks to Vasco da Gama who came on down. Master of the obvious here. Before we bring on Diane Davis, I know the world's been eagerly awaiting. I'd like to tell you a little story because I'm feeling a mild musical tonight. I'd like to tell you a little story about my daddy and the first pet I ever had. Yes, it was only yesterday, but it seems like years and years ago. Well, I was just a little shivering up here in the back of your head. I went up to my daddy and I says, Daddy! son. Let's see what I can do for you. Well, to my surprise, when I opened up that gift box, and out came my very first pet, I was just as happy as a little shaver could be because I had my very own pet God. Yeah, well, I didn't want my pet God to go out in the streets. I was afraid he was going to get him that gang of bad gods. Also, I was afraid the God catcher would get him. And what's more, where do you go to buy a God license? Go to the church. I want to buy a God license for my God. How much? $15 billion. No thanks. Well, one day I called my God, and he didn't come. And I told my daddy, and he says, son, your God is old and sick. It wouldn't be right to make him suffer. So I got my rifle, I pointed it at the head of my God, and he looked at me with those big, blue, omniscient eyes of his, and I knew that he knew what I was going to do. Well, after the deed was done, I went to my dad. He says, son, being an adult means sometimes having to make difficult decisions, like killing your God. So just remember, you can't teach an old God new tricks. But here's the old lady, smooth segue here, who can teach us all sorts of things. We just give her a chance. Just give her a chance. Come on, Diane. Give us a chance. Come on. Miss Diane Davis. We're going to bring out next week's featured guest, Mr. John Carlin, first impression. The Aliens. What an intro, what a guy. John Carlin, master of the flamingo guitar. No, they're not matched there. Those architects, they belong. We'd like to thank all of the fine figures, both present and past, for making it necessary for us to do what we do, which is get up off our keisters and try to do something. And in no particular order, they are Fritz Kohn of the German-American Bund, and J. Edgar Hoover, Richard Nixon, Joe McCarthy, and Wendell Pugh, head of the Minutemen. Let's not forget Stevenson, who was the head of the Ku Klux Klan in Indiana in 1926. And, well, of course, I have, let's not forget George Bush or the Red Sox, those traitors, or any of those fine folk who make it fun. And thanks to this star-studded roster, Alan, John, Gian, Pat, and Jati, his own self. Next week, Mr. John Carlos will be our featured performer, perhaps with Los Tres, perhaps with a new band. Surprises. Thank you all for coming out. This was, we went on much later than we thought. So we thank you all who stuck out to the, I won't even say it. Good night. The Colonel is squandering all of your money. He's been gambling at casinos. Well, now, just like old Elvis likes to lay back and relax a little bit after a hard day's work, I'm sure the Colonel likes to drop $500,000 on one throw of the craps as well. Who am I to deny him now the old pleasure? After all, like he said, it's only money. Not only that, but you know, he's in to me for half of everything I heard. Little lady, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this awful fix. Why don't you just stand up and fire him? Well, I can't do that, little lady. You know, that good old girl, he got me hypnotized. One time I was about to go on and sing Love Me Tender, and he hypnotized me, and I started barking like a dog and crawling on all fours. Well, he put out an album called Elvis Having Fun on stage. After I did that, he made another $500,000, which he squandered at the Tropicana, stuffing it down in, excuse me, little lady, Braziers, where the showgirls there. Well, Elvis, I think you should disappear for a while. So Elvis disappears. And in his place, East German communist spies who were raised from birth to impersonate Elvis infiltrate the United States and are seen everywhere. Mobile, Alexander. Mobile and New Orleans, Elvis is seen tending the bar in a liquor store. And over in Montreal, Canada, Elvis is seen forlornly pushing together a squeeze box and begging for Canadian currency. Yes, Elvis is subscribed all over the world, and that's not the half of it. Some of them are East German spies. Some of them are Elvis impersonators who are trying to get a quick meal, you know, on the cuff. And some of them are outer space aliens which have been planted here to impersonate Elvis and study Earth ways. But where is the real Elvis? Well, that's where we get to the title credits of the film. Elvis is circling the building. Yes, Elvis is in a gigantic flying saucer, hovering 15 miles above the surface of the Earth, sending little saucers with his clones and lookalikes down to various trouble spots to suit matters. Beirut. Stop that fire. The kidney's here. I want to show you some real fireworks. Any trouble spot you care to name, Elvis is there to ease it over a little bit. Now, Richard, you gotta stop beating your wife. I know she likes to go around and start those lousy beat movies, and I know you're a great actor. I've always admired your work, Mr. Burton, but you just gotta stop beating on poor little Elizabeth there. She was so cute and she died. Elvis is frequently called in to adjudicate when rock and roll stars have their little tips on stage. Now, just because Keith went and snorted all the heroin, that's not reason to bust him on the head with your guitar, Pete. Now, come on, let's be reasonable. Elvis, eventually, the president's fingers are poised nervously on the nuclear button. All of a sudden, Elvis comes in. Now, Mr. President, I'm sure there's no need for that. We'll just have a little cultural exchange program. We'll take you in their Bolshoi ballet. They'll take in all the records by Elvis. Elvis. And a big co-star, Roy Orbison, even though he's dead. They can do anything with technology these days. Create holograms. So, the scene would because his Roy's vocal prowess. The whole reason that Roy Orbison gets into this is because Elvis once said, you know, I do believe that Roy Orbison is the best singer in the world. And if Elvis says it, it must be true. So we shoot in on Roy Orbison hitting his kid. Roy, stop beating him! Listen to this, just listen to this, I can train him. Oh, Roy, you gotta give him his voice that you... See, you're the man lifting me off. Roy, listen to me. Stop beating him, Roy. Stop beating him. Well, Elvis comes in. Now, Roy, not everybody has the value of the talent that you and me have. Matter of to show the death of Elvis on screen because that would be blasphemy. So just a point of Elvis like this, and then Elvis is circling the building. Copyright 1989 MGM Films. Royal MGM Records. A Elvis Presley production. Thanks. Who's next? Expensive things that I can't take with me anyway. I'd never sell my country out. But then again, nobody's making any particularly attractive offers. As I grow older, I find myself getting just a little more politically conservative, which is great, because I like acting like a mean little boy every once in a while. George Bush has the heart of a boy. He has the heart of a little boy. And he keeps it locked in a box in the Oval Office. Oh well. Now you might wonder what my political philosophy is about. Yeah, who gives a shit? Make with the footy still. Alright, well, I'll tell you right out my political philosophy. I'm a revolutionary communist. I go to the baseball game, the Sox are playing the Yankees. Everyone else is going, go Red Sox, go Red Sox. And I'm yelling, down with Yankee imperialism. The waitress comes up to me in a restaurant and says, sir, can I help you? No, there's no help for your decadent capitalism. And I'm in basic training in the Marine Corps. All right, maggots, fine. You refer to us as maggots, and yet it is the crumbling capitalist system which is causing us to be placed in this subservient position vis-a-vis you. Come the revolution, you will be the maggot that you so assiduously attempted to make us into. Yeah, well, I get fired from a lot of it. It's not easy, what do you put on your job application? Occupation, revolutionary communist, sorry. That's when I was my girlfriend. I love you. There is no room for love. Love is a bourgeois concept. In the new socialist order, love will be obsolete. So it makes it hard to hold a job. It does. But the government's always telling us to give up drugs, right? Has it ever occurred to anybody to ask what they're going to give up in exchange? I mean, it's a fair trade. You want something out of me, you got to give me something. Maybe if they give up telling us to give up drugs, we'll give them up. That'll be their reward. The second they stop telling us, flush all my heroin down the toilet. It's tough when you go to these really hip parties and someone hands you this dish full of white powder. Isn't it a bummer when, you sniff this powder and you think it's cocaine and it turns out to be heroin? Really, I have this problem all the time. You can tell I'm living in the factory. I'm starving myself to death. I read something in the newspaper. It was about, it was called Fight Back, and it was about taking care of your exotic pet. Like, don't let your children play with your pet ferret or weasel. Ferrets and weasels become agitated when handled too closely and may fight. And then they say, do not feed your dog chocolate. Candy and pets do not mix. Dogs love chocolate, but a secret ingredient, theobromine, could cause fatal convulsions in dogs. So I'm going to stand in front of the Godiva chocolate factory and say, this cruel slaughter must stop. Suit the entire world to dogs and exile all the cats in Manhattan Island, along with the ferrets and weasels. It also said in this article that parrots need a balanced diet, 50% fruit, 40% 40% seeds, 10% table scraps and dog food. So with this information, I mean, can you imagine a household which has a pet parrot, a pet ferret, and a pet dog, and the parrot is sort of like, he runs the place, and he's sort of the overseer over at dinner time, and the baby puts a little piece of food in its mouth, and the parrot goes, and then the dog is like burying his nose in the dog food. So he tries to, the ferret is also starting to get into trouble too. So what happens is that the parrot realizes that it's not going to get by simply by ordering the other animals around. It has to have an ally, so it gets the dog into its confidence.
Hey, Poochie, all the chocolate you've been eating, you just make sure they know where to start before I eat the roast.
Well, and the parrot goes on a crusade, non-cruelty to parrots. We refuse to talk until you get rid of the chain around our ankle and start feeding us more fresh vegetables. But how will they make their wishes known if they refuse to talk? It's a paradox, like the paradox that this world, and in fact this open mic is built on. A dictionary for babies. It's a phrase book, really, that I thought of, that I'd like to share with you. It would start out slow. Baby's first words would be, I wet. Work up to mischief. Kitty's in the dryer. I broke all the toys. Are you wrestling? Oh, a feeble ripple. I'd like to just talk briefly about Catholics Anonymous. See, I grew up a Catholic, and it was beginning to change my life in ways which I didn't like. I'd go to work reeking of incense and communion wine on my breath. The boss would get angry because I would take prayer breaks that would last 3 hours. So I had to go to Catholics Anonymous. It started out with one simple Missa Nova. Pretty soon I was up to 7 masses a week. So I went to Catholics Anonymous and we took the 10-point pledge. I don't believe in the power of a supreme being to order my life. Well, so I was cured of my Catholicism, so I started drifting into the black arts. It started out with throwing the heat shade. Pretty soon I worked my way up to throwing the tarot every day. Before long I was offering up black masses to Satan. So I went to Wicca Anonymous, and I took the 10-point pledge. We do not believe in the power of a horned devil to cause chaos and universal destruction. Well, now I'm back to Roman Catholicism, and the whole cycle started all over again. I leave with a closing thought. I can't go along with my dad, and that's because he's a meat and potato man. His legs are made of French fries, and his arm is made of pork chops. Oh, that's right. I want to do one other thing. The communist comedian. Capitalists, this is your brain. This is your brain on capitalism. And comrades, the yoke is on you. Poetry, or maybe some insensitive poetry. Yeah, how come poets are so sensitive? Why don't poets display the same kind of brutal animosity of beauty that everybody in our culture seems to be displaying? Gee, I don't know.
Baby, I love the smell of your underarms after we wrestle on shards of broken glass.
Kristen, here's your chance to be a big star. Come up and wow with your... Do you know how to vote against Kristen? Boy, do I have an egg on my face. In more ways than one. John. And Anola. Are you ready? Well, I'd like to bring up our featured performers for the year. After, of course, I've made... Wait a minute. Are you sure there's nobody else?
yeah.
Yeah, come on out.
Do we have to go right this second? Yes.
It depends.
My friend just went.
Oh, she just went, well,
Another 5 minutes of jokes, Francis.
another 5 minutes of jokes. It's...
You think you can do better?
Wait a minute, let's not get brutal here, okay? Well, all right, let me test reincarnation then, okay? Does someone name an occupation for me? Mailman. All right, name a city in the continental United States excluding Alaska and Hawaii. Skokie. A mailman in Skokie. I got my Doc Martin boots with the black laces so that the pit bulls which belong to the skinheads in the neighborhood won't take a big chunk out of my ankle. That's just part of the hassle of being a mailman in Skokie. I don't know what else to say. I frequently have like 15-pound ticking packages to deliver to various Jews and Negroes in the neighborhood. I have to go to the fire station to make sure these aren't bombs. And, well, if I leave my mail truck parked outside of the synagogue for 1 minute, when I come back, somebody has carved Nazi signs into all the tires. I'll tell you, being a mailman in Skokie isn't all beer and skills, not by a long shot. I don't know. I frequently have to take mail from Skokie to other parts of the country. I open it up, and I see all of this literature, and it's terrible. They shouldn't permit it to be sent through the mail. It's all of these sorts of things like, we dropped 2. We should have dropped 1,000. Nuke Japan, you know? These guys, they're real enlightened, and I love being their mailman. If only their pit bulls would stay in the house and quit menacing me, then things would be working really well for me. I can't think of anything else to say. Except that those nuclear freeze advocates in Morningside Heights in Chicago are also giving me the runaround because they keep on sending all of their mail in red envelopes. And I open up their mail and read it, and there are lengthy plans for overthrowing the government of the United States. And so I go to visit them, and I ring the doorbell, and they yell out the window, "Nobody home." And so I can't deliver their mail to them for insufficient postage because they're all communists and they don't believe in putting stamps on envelopes. So what I do is I stash all of this Nazi hate mail and all this communist literature in my garage. I've got a pretty big pile I've worked up there. And every once in a while I make a mistake and a letter that I fail to deliver ends up breaking up a happy marriage. And I feel a certain existential sadness, but I think it's better that 100 people suffer than one person being corrupted by left or right-wing fanaticism. In fact, you might say I'm a bit of a fanatic on this subject. I'm a fanatical centrist. I believe that anybody who has any radical opinions at all should be put into a gulag, but I don't want it to be a right or a left-wing gulag. It's sort of like a concentration camp life. There is a little bit of meat in the soup because the cook makes sure they catch a mouse every morning. And people are only forced to work from sun up to sundown and not until they drop over exhausted, their body covered with boils. And here's Joseph, the famous owner of the village cafe. And here's Jeffrey Gagnon, lurking in a pointy window, enjoying every single moment of my discomfiture, I'm sure. Yeah, it's been a good life all in all, being a mailman. Well, I'll just have to sign this one, special delivery. Please sign it, our special guest. Our last minute addition to the bill, or our special guest, as the case may be. Well, I remembered your name, which I forgot. Oh, wait, not Carrie and Kristen. That's someone else who's supposed to be here.
Close.
Close? All right. Okay, holler out your name for me.
Juanita and Matt. John, Carlo, and Nula. Please, another hand. All of the money folks are here to see Fortaleza. Well, have no fear. I know you're all thinking, gee, what if somebody doesn't come around and collect the money from us for Fortaleza? What are we going to do? Well, have no fear. I'm the person that's going to do that. So, if this cruel, thuggish-looking individual comes up to you with his crafty little beady eyes and asks you for money, it's not a genuine robbery. And you can order all sorts of tasty drinks too, like the Belly Dancer, which is pistachio liqueur and cream, and the Camel's Hump. Don't ask. I'd like to introduce a man that I know from the open mic circuit around Boston. He's performed at Stitches many times. He's a wonderful comic, one of the most offbeat and funny characters you're likely to see on the Middle East stage. Please, a warm round of applause, Mr. Steve Bernstein. Steve Bernstein. It's Popeye starring in Julius Caesar.
I come to squash Popeye, not praise him.
How? And two Pluto?
John Olive Oil has a mean and hungry look. Such things are dangerous when they scream too loud. Hold still, you front. I'll make Caesar salad out of you.
Sketch. Now, Pluto, are much condemned to wear an aching head. My hero.
Well, quite an introduction that was, wasn't it? To our next guest and our last guest, Kogan Hooten Pluckers from New Orleans. And after that, I suppose we'll be wrapping up the show and bringing Fortaleza up here. They're some of the finest lounge singers you'll likely ever see. Chicken Hooten Pluckers. December 7th, 1941. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. We're going to give those mustard-killer monkeys a taste of their own medicine. They can dish it out, they can't take it. They'll be sorry they ever messed with good old Uncle Sammy. Over there, over there, over there. And then the musical interlude, a song, it's called "We're Going to Knock the Japs Right into the Laps of the Nazis Because You're a Sap, Mr. Jap, and we'll play taps on the Japs and slap the Jap right off the map because they haven't got a Chinese channel." Well, actually, we'll dispense with actually singing this magnificent song. Okay, so now they're overseas, right? They're crouching down in a stinking, filthy foxhole somewhere in the Philippines. Careful, boys. We don't want any dead heroes. Don't try to win the war all by yourself. Okay, Sarge! Yeah, that's the country hit character. There's always one in every war movie. Really stupid, but incredibly loyal and brave. You know, sort of like a German shepherd. And then you have the character called Brooklyn. Tough talking, like to push people around. Hey, what are you doing going here? But of course, here's a heart of gold too. Also incredibly brave. Not too much on the bright side, but of such things our heroes made. And like the Sarge, tough, stern, compassionate, leader of men. Get into saying things like, I don't want any dead heroes in this outfit. We're going to all hang together or we're all going to hang separately. And of course, there's a college boy. Yeah. What do you think, college boy? We're going to knock those Japs off the map? Indubitably. Yeah. He was sort of like a cross between the hated Japanese enemy and, you know, the United States Marine. Not quite an American because he's too intelligent, but not really a Japanese because he's not treacherous enough. So, that is another musical interlude. Go back to where you belong if you can't be true to the red, white, and blue. We are marching, 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 50 billion strong. Even though there don't happen to be 50 billion people on the face of the planet, there might as well be because we're going to win this war and then we're going to knock the man of the hour is General Eisenhower. Hats off to MacArthur and our boys down there. Gee, Ma, I sure miss your apple pie. Well, the whole point of this is that at the end of the war, the Nazis were wiped off the face of the map, and then we had to deal with the menace of internal subversion, communism. Now, you know, when we dropped the atomic bomb on Japan, there were some people out there saying, those lousy chopstick jockeys, we dropped our planet buster on. Should have dropped 100 of them. But, yeah, United States Marines, we're hard boys, and we're peddling graves up and down the Pacific. But after the war, just imagine that somebody gets knocked out and is in a coma for 40 years, and he wakes up in 1986. Where am I? You're in a Brooklyn hospital. What year is this? 1986. What happened with the war? The Nazis lost. Didn't they? Well, so much for that. He was acclaimed as the world's greatest performer. There then began a precipitous slide as he took up with all sorts of mystical sects. He went from one to the other, from Est to Satanism. Finally, he went as low as he could go, transcendental meditation. But now he's clawing his way back to the top. Let's have a hand for Jotzi. Mr. Peter Chambers. That was the wedding song funeral march cast. But here's Peter Chambers. Hi, my name is Jeffrey Gagnon, and I'll be coming up here soon. I'll have to say that. We have another first-time performer to our stage. His name is Rob Willis. I went to a restaurant the other day, and the waiter brought me my soup, and I looked at it, I called him over, and I said, "Waiter, there's a hippie in my soup." No punchline. Rob, this is a job for a guitar man. 8-mile street musician by day, by night. When he goes on stage, Rob Willis, master of guitar, and harmonic, and singing too, I guess. Rob Willis.
I don't know what happened.
Rob Willis.
We're bringing up the Scott Blues momentarily. Over practicing in the corner, Jeffrey. I have a question. When Mary was pregnant, did she give up coffee? No. Hey, you know Jim Wright, the deposed Speaker of the House? Jim Wright had a nightmare. He dreamed he was spending his own money. That is a nightmare. I was thinking about a product that we could probably make a lot of money off of if we all got together. Just in the way that we all got together to sing Squeeze Box one time. I think if we each invested $10 in this. Well, I'll throw it out at you. It's called the Jesus Paper Towel. Takes the licking and keeps on sticking. Jesus Paper Towels forgive any mess. You can walk up a lake and walk on it with the Jesus Paper Towel. If you buy one, you get 2,000 free. How's this? You know, all these people going around, they have the MasterCard. What does that make the rest of us? Holders of the slave card?
Yes.
I don't know. Well, I thought of a nice credit card. It would be very appropriate, too. It would be called the Karma Card. It really pays you back. When you were a kid, did you ever want to make, you ever used to read the Guinness Book of World Records and say, "Gee, I could be famous too"? Well, I used to read the Guinness Book of World Records and yearn for notoriety. And I sort of focused in on the stuff that I felt I had an aptitude for, like, eating 3 pies in 15 seconds or something like that. Well, I was thinking, do people go into training to break the Guinness Book of World Records? I mean, all right, I caught you. You snuck out at midnight and you ran 3 miles. Just for that, I want you to eat a gallon tub of ice cream. Don't you get it when your son comes home from college and he says he's a communist? Well, here's what you do. You pressured him to get married because once he has children, he'll become a fascist in no time. What's going to happen when they abolish war? What are drill sergeants going to do?
All right, you maggots, line up. I want 200 place toilet. Move it, move it, move it. 20 macrame.
Hit it! Every time I lie to my girlfriend, my eyebrow goes up. So I can't lie to her because... How am I looking today? Oh, you look lovely, dear. I've been walking around that all day long. Doesn't this, I think drugs could become more respectable if we came up with theme songs for them. Like, they call it bad heard from. Anyway, master of disturbing concentration and blowing punchlines, Jeffrey. Geez, what is this, Jeffrey? Are you the Confederates and I'm the Union? Oh, okay. Well, all right. Just don't mention the name Lincoln around me. This neighborhood's pretty bad. There's a lot of junkies. And in fact, there's so many junkies that, you go to the CVS, it doesn't say drugstore, it says tour, because the junkies stole the drugs. Oh well. All right, I know when I outstayed my welcome. I think I'm getting out of here. But anyway, Sky Blues.
Let's get up there.
All right, performing monkeys, famous monkeys. Well, what if they went on strike? We refuse to ride unicycles and smoke cigars until our demands are met. Anyway, here they are, Sky Blues. Yes, the Sky Blues. You may wonder how I got this job. I stabbed Jeffrey in the back. Actually, I had a job writing children's books, but I got fired for saying the word poop and not eating all my vegetables. But here's a guy who never says the word poop, and he always eats his vegetables, and it's my pleasure, and I might add my privilege to welcome him back. He's been on tour, working on his new album, all those other musician type things, which I know moving well. Please, a warm round for a man who was once my friend, and now he hates me, but I still like him, and well, yeah, really. I don't know. I didn't expect to get anywhere. So anything that comes my way is gravy. I start at zero expectations, and I end up sitting on top of the world. Next week, we have from Providence, Rhode Island, formerly known as the Porno Sponges, now called Medicine Ball, one of the Bags' favorite bands, incidentally. Like the Bags are plugging them, That's what I'm trying to imply. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, because that's what they tell me. Maybe they're lying. Anyway, Medicine Ball, I heard their demo. It's acid punk, it'll scare you right out of your pants. Later this evening, we have Joe Morris, Great Leap Forward. Those are distinguished-looking, sophisticated jazz musicians sitting over there. Actually, I've never heard of an unsophisticated jazz band. And also the Full Metal Revolutionary Ensemble. But enough jolly and gay, wry quips. Now it's time for serious art to go on. J-Gags. Just feel like Paganini and play a sports trick. Why don't we do that revolutionary Joseph Sater. Joseph told me a joke. It was, why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. Joseph Sater, club owner, humanitarian, burgeoning comedian. Yeah, let's do Fight the Cops. This is a song that Jeffrey and I wrote because I told him I had been arrested down in Georgia for driving without a license, and we were both really drunk. He was like, "Goddamn, please, goddamn, please." We wrote this song. It was last summer. Now you have to imagine a scenario where a bunch of criminals are sitting around their criminal den sorry. I saw an episode of Batman not too long ago. Hey, do you guys know the theme of Batman, by the way? What's the note? It's the first song everybody learns how to sing because it only has one word. You know, even foreigners can sing it. Batman! Yeah. Well, I saw an episode of Batman. Batman was being hypnotized by the evil King Tut, who was, of course, a psychopath, a Yale professor of Egyptology who went off the deep end, probably from grading too many undergraduate papers. And, so Batman is pretending to be hypnotized. Of course, with his steely concentration, he can't be hypnotized. That's a funny thing about superheroes, too. Like, you can't hypnotize Superman. It doesn't seem to be fair somehow. Every once in a while, they do hypnotize him. It's called super hypnotism. You know? And he's always hypnotizing people to forget his secret identity. You will forget my secret identity. Why doesn't he just, like, drop me in the ocean? Because I have a code against killing. Or exile him to a faraway planet. I would if I could. But that would defy all the laws of physics as his body would burn to a cinder as we reached escape velocity. Well, anyway, Batman gets hypnotized, but he's not really hypnotized. He's just pretending to be. Because Robin isn't in on the big secret. And he says, here's how Batman acts when he's hypnotized. It's like, I hear and I obey.
Batman, what's the matter with you? You're acting like you're hypnotized. I'm trying to get them to lead me to their house.
I hear and obey. And so finally, Batman conquers the evil King Tut. But we're not going to have King Tut in the Batman movie. It's going to be the Joker. And Robin is going to die in the first 5 minutes, supposedly. That's because they were a little antsy about a guy who walks around dressed in a little skin-tight vest and little trunks where his genital bulge is prominently displayed. In this less innocent age, you can't get away with underage teenagers accompanying you as you go around beating the tar out of, ruthless criminals. Then the whole idea of Batman, anyway. Well, I was thinking, what if Batman were in ancient Jerusalem? Whose side would he be on in the ongoing Romans versus Jesus controversy? I'll bet you'd side with the Romans. They'd say, all right, we want you to get this Jesus guy. Teach him a lesson, Batman. So, one by one, the apostles would get kicked off. Bruce Wayne would bribe Judas, 30 pieces of silver. All right, there he is. And, all the rest of them would fall by batarang, or bat lasso, or bat stun pellets, or whatever. And finally, he comes to the big man himself, the King of Kings. What a face-off, Hey, no fair, that halo's blinding me. I better put my special contact on you. And Jesus would take pity on Batman, and he'd turn him into Mouse Man. Well, do you guys know the Batman thing? It's so simple. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. Well, all right. Geez, talk about hanging out on the line to drive. All right, so I'll do it. This is incredibly bad, but I'll do it. Batman is someone who has one word. 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 How many of you actually ever watched Batman? When it was on or in reruns? How come the Lost in Space Net people never encountered Batman? Danger, masked psychopath at 3 o'clock. Well, I don't know. Batman is such a bad fella. A lot nicer than my dad. A lot more talkative, too. Geez. Well, as you may know, we have as tonight's special guest, Medicine Ball, formerly the Porno Sponges. Although I'm not supposed to say that, but it's true, I think. I don't know. It's not true. All right. Well, I've been spreading around a lot of scuttlebutt, which isn't strictly veracious, but hey, that's something you might get confused with. Veracity versus voracity. He said he was voracious, and then he ate my hand. Well, anyway, so who's first? Who's up first? You're at the Cabaret. Boy, I don't jump up at once. See, I'm reduced to these corny stock cliche formulations in the absence of any sort of, all right. Wow. Holy shucks, it's Walter who called and was very nice, and he's a poet. Well, we'll just pat each other on the back while looking for a place to put the knife. But anyway. No, I can't. Want a back rub? Anyway.
Just keep the knife in your hand.
Alright, well, they all talk about stabbing in the back with a knife, but why didn't anybody ever try to use it with a fork? I guess it'd be pretty dumb to have. Oh man, I'll tell you, this guy's really quick on the draw. Well, a fine American who also smells very good, Walter. No, Walter, serious autobiographical poetry. They're always talking about lazy bums. You'll hear them all the time. Well, just what we mean, like, industrious bums. Hey, Baldy, you're ugly. Give me some money. And it's like,
Hey lady, can I carry your purse for you? Hey, who's my girl? Yeah, you. What are you looking at, you cockeyed son of a bitch? I'll knock you 6 ways on Sunday. Give me all your own money.
Stuff like that. I'll give you some impressions as we prepare to bring up the Sky Blues, who incidentally have a very lovely tape out, which I guess they would sell to you if they bought any with them, which they probably did. And we also hope to have them as our feature act sometime in the very near future. Maybe even as soon as 2 weeks from today. Who knows? I gotta talk to them. This is all a surprise to them. But these are the impressions. Roy Orbison's son, Boy Orbison. His voice hasn't changed yet. I give him a little credit. Sid Barrett is performed by Elmer Fudd. It's all sweet and sweet of you to think of me here. And most of what is for making it clear that I'm not here. Thank you. Otis Redding advertising crack. Okay, here's the Ballad of Sergeant Barry Sadler. Silver wings, a long arm. Anyway, what an introduction to the Sky Blues. Now I gotta think of something really nice, like puppy dog for kids, and that cute little teddy bear that advertises fabrics all the time. So we have to know that a talent agent from T2 stopped by and said, who are these people? So you gotta drop your tape off with them, they might as well cute, right? We're going to bring Mr. Peter from the Gulf of Peasants, whose last name I forget, up next. I was working on a television show. It's to correct the cruel injustice that was perpetrated when all the cowboy shows were very popular. It's called And Indians. And the thing is, they didn't like my idea because all the plots centered around broken treaties and genocide. So they figured they'd spice it up a little bit, and they'd make it like an Indian comes into the present day, a 16th century Virginia Indian comes up to modern day Boston. And, he's kind of disoriented by all the yuppies. He says stuff like, white man eat oysters with forked tongue. And, he goes to a wine and cheese party and loudly demands firewater and such. But he goes to Brookline and he demands all the land back because it belonged to him at one time, even though he was from Virginia. Anyway, Pete. Yeah, where does he play this in, Mike? Mike, our sound man. Let's have a big hand for him. Noise? You call that noise? Yeah, I like guttural gruntings and groanings that sometimes constitute noise and occasionally fall into patterns of speech. We're also honored to have as our guests Mr. Jim Fantina and Mr. Chris Chandler. Hobnobbing over in the corner, schmoozing, talking about the music. Chris is on vacation line tour. think you'll find him a very entertaining performer. And we would have had to start with our longer, but we got a big lineup. And time's running short. Here's Pete. A very funny comedian as opposed to all the other unfunny comedians that we frequently feature on the stage. Mr. Aaron Rank, another guy for you. What a man, I'll tell you. He's got more balls singing that song than melodies. I'd like to bring up a fellow I've worked with for 20 years. We founded the Gorman's Chinese Theater. His footprint is in the first square, and my face print is in the second. As you mashed into the concrete because I wouldn't pay a lousy $50 poker debt. Mr. Jim Infantino. What the hell? Jim Infantino is a great guy. Well,